At Girly Pop Society today, we sat down with Kelci, a birth doula and birth photographer local in our area. We hear her 3 birth stories, her hospital birth, and 2 home births. We believe a birth story doesn't begin with labor, it begins with her.
Welcome to Girly Pop Birth Talks, where we go beyond the delivery room. Each week, we interview a woman just like you and unlike you about her pregnancy, her birth, and also her becoming, and what led her to the most transformative experience of her life.
So grab a drink, a snack, and cozy up, because around here we go from laughing one minute to crying the next.
As we listen to the stories that shape us.
Because birth isn't just about babies, it's about the women who rise in the process.
Welcome, Kelci Mukisa.
To Girly Pop Birth Talks.
Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Do you want to
I feel like you're like my fangirl. I mean, I'm your fangirl. Like
I'm also
every
your
time
fangirl.
I see like what's it called?
Wild and Thrive.
Wild and Thrive. I'm like, oh, the most dreamy feed in the whole entire world. I'll just go like, I used to watch wedding videos.
Mm-hmm.
Now I watch just birth videos
Yeah.
over and over.
Same.
Or pictures. Tell us about yourself. Who are you? Who are you married to?
Yeah, I'm Kelci. I am a wife to Prince. We've been married for 8 years
His
now.
name's Prince? I don't think I knew this.
Yeah.
That's
Yep, I know.
so
Every time
cute.
I say it, they're like, people are like, what? After Prince the singer? No. But yeah, we've been married almost 8 years. This year it'll be 8, and we have 3 sweet babies. They're 6, 4, and 2.
Okay.
And yeah, I homeschool. So I'm a homeschool mom, stay-at-home mom, and then I am a home birth photographer and birth doula.
So fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I do all the things.
Yeah,
but
I'm thinking
yeah.
like, how do you do that?
Yeah. I don't know.
It just works out.
Yeah. We just started homeschooling, like seriously homeschooling this year. So
Okay.
this is like the first year that I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna
Yeah.
do all of it? But I don't take on a ton of births. I try to like
Yeah.
balance that with
Yeah.
being at home with my babies. So yeah.
Yeah, I always, because we take on like anyone that needs support. So I think it's interesting or like a unique take of like families or doulas or birth workers that like work with a unique, not unique, but what am I trying to say? Like,
Like specific.
yeah, like you like only say yes to the families that you like want to work with.
Yeah, I think it's because I have always known like I've had midwifery in mind at the end of this. So like that's who I'm called to help,
Yeah.
those mothers who want that.
Yeah.
And I love that every mother has a choice to pick wherever she wants to birth, but like that I just know that's like who I'm called to
Yeah.
to work with. So
That's so special. And it
Yeah.
keeps your schedule, I'm sure, like modest and like
yeah.
not
'Cause
overwhelmed.
I don't have like millions of
Yeah.
inquiries for home birth. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
When did you start doing birth photography and
birth
being a
photography
doula?
I just started in the last like year and a half. It'll be 2 years this spring.
Okay.
That's insane.
But yeah, I've been a doula. I've been doing doula work here since 2022.
Okay.
But my journey with birth work and like I guess doula work started in 2016. So 10
Okay.
years ago.
Wow. 10
Yeah.
years.
So that's before
that's
you
so
had
crazy.
your first.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's go back to that. Tell us
Okay.
about Kelci 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
It's a trend right now.
True.
Yeah,
2016.
I know.
Let's talk about
It was
it.
actually like a really transformational year. That's when I moved to Uganda. I was working full time here, and I had always I just like had this calling, I feel like really deep down to go to Africa, and I was like I have no clue where. But I'm supposed to go there, and this is like way back. I was like 12 or 13 telling people I was going to like travel to Africa and work there and do all kinds of things. So anyway, I have so much more I could share like from before that. But 2016 I finally have the opportunity to go. It was like a wild whirlwind of events where I got connected to this one couple who my childhood pastor knew. It was like super random. And they had a nonprofit in Uganda. And I was like, cool, Uganda. I have to look it up. I have no idea, like that's never been like a place on my radar. But they had this, they had a huge nonprofit ministry, but they had different like sectors, I guess. And one of them was working with high risk women who didn't have access to prenatal care. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And so yeah, I quit my job. Um, I was living with roommates at the time. Once that was up, I left and moved to Uganda. So
That's so wild.
Yeah.
yeah, and I didn't have any like I had a return date home, but it was like I'm gonna like do this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any like medical background or what was your background of like birth, pregnancy,
Um,
culture?
like what did I think about birth or
Yeah, like I'm gonna go serve these high risk African women.
I don't know that I was necessarily like passionate about the high risk aspect. I always knew that I was called to help pregnant women and like be in the birth space.
Yeah.
Um
Where did that come from, do you think?
We're like, tell
I
us, Kelsey.
I know I'm like let's go way back. Um I don't know. I've always
Born with it.
since I was little, yeah.
Yep.
I was
Mm.
like I'm literally going to be and I didn't have the word midwife back
Mhm.
then.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what a midwife was,
Mhm.
Hmm.
but that's like followed me in my entire life. Like that's always
Mm.
been something that was in me. I was obsessed with birth when I was little. Which is so random because like I don't know, I feel like my mom had pretty
Like standard.
standard.
Mhm.
She had 3 hospital births,
Mhm.
epidurals. Like we didn't like talk about birth a ton. I wasn't involved in that with my siblings. But I just was obsessed.
Mhm.
I couldn't wait to be pregnant. I couldn't wait to be a mom, and I also couldn't wait to be like a midwife. Those were my 2
Mhm.
things. And so, yeah, it just always followed me wherever I went. I had different like little things that I had done over time, you know, that was I guess would be considered in that birth work realm, but
Mhm. I'm just amazed, like,
um
all these things intersected. Like, you knew you wanted to go to Africa, right? Like, that was one
mhm.
thing, and also work with pregnant women in some
Capacity.
space,
Yeah.
yeah, and then it, like, intersected in an opportunity.
So growing up, I our pastor traveled to like India,
Mm.
Africa, different
Mhm.
parts. He had friends and ministries all over and he would literally just like talk about traveling. I was like, people do that? Like you go to places and like for him he was like specifically like sharing God with people and stuff.
Mhm.
But I didn't even know what a missionary was. I was like, what? Like and then I found out like people do that and like help and work with other people in places and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm going to go do that and it's going to be in Africa." I don't know, I just like
Knew it
knew.
was gonna be
Mm.
Africa.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Um so yeah.
Okay.
So is midwifery on the radar?
Yeah. I mean, for a long time it was like in the future. And now I'm like, wow, once we're done having babies, like, yeah, I really want to
Study group
pursue
starts
that.
in like 2 weeks if you want to come.
Really? I don't know about like that close in the future, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because that's always been what I wanted to do. But then, like, becoming a mother, it's like, I see midwives who are mothers all the time do both. And I'm like, I don't know
Mhm.
how you do it. I feel like I need to, like, sit down
Yeah.
and ask you all the questions
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I'm so deep in, I think, the early years,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
I'm starting to see, because my oldest will be 7 this year. I'm like, wow, I'm like starting to see that we're like getting out of that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm just waiting on timing. I feel like with everything in my life, God has just made it clearer when the perfect timing is and then it just
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so I'm not like in a rush, but I'm also expectant, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
I always think of Amy, like, and even like Marlene, like there's a lot of midwives that didn't become midwives until after like in their 30s, 40s, after all their kids were grown
Mhm.
and then they have this whole second career.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I just think I don't know, I always forget that part of life. Like, oh, there's an
There's
after.
time. There's time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's 2016, you go to Africa.
Mhm.
You've been with your husband, you've been married 8 years, so I'm curious if this
That's where we met.
intersects. Okay,
Yeah.
tell us about that.
So he knew the directors of the ministry that I was working with. So he actually knew them for years, like, because they had been in Uganda for since like no, like 2002 or something. Like
Mm.
it had been a long time since they were there. So he knew this family and they asked him to come back to help with some things in the ministry. He was doing, I don't know if you guys have heard of YWAM, Youth
Oh,
with a
yeah.
Yeah.
Mission.
Mhm.
So I did that after high school. He was in YWAM in South Africa and he had to come back to like renew his visa and do all this stuff. So he's at home literally the same exact time that I get there. And this couple was like, "Hey, can you come help us with stuff with the ministry?" And while I'm also like helping with stuff
Mhm.
and They had like kind of told them or him about me briefly before, like, oh, there's this girl who's coming to work with the ministry. She also did YWAM and like just like made that connection. He's like, oh my gosh, like who's this girl? And so apparently he like looks me up before he's like, oh my gosh, I have to like know her. And so I get there, I have no idea who this guy is.
Mhm.
And he meets me and he's like, love at first sight. Like he's
Oh,
literally, and I didn't
wow.
know this. He's like wanting to like talk to me and become friends with me. I'm like, who is this dude? He turned out to be the brother of my roommate, so another girl who was doing stuff in the ministry, and we became, like, fast friends. We were, like,
Mhm.
instantly connected. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is your brother?" Like, it was just anyway, so, yeah, we did become friends, though, and, um, the long story short of it is, I came back home. I went back to Uganda again to work with the ministry again. He came back, and I think we, like, at that point, just couldn't I couldn't, like, pretend anymore that it, like, wasn't more than it was,
Mm.
which is so wild. I remember I would call my friends back home and, like, call my mom and be like, "Oh my gosh, like, is this real life? Like, am I actually gonna do this? Like, I'm gonna marry a man from, like
Uganda.
from Uganda." Yeah, and, like,
Wow.
"What are we gonna do? How are we gonna make this work?" And my mom was like, "It'll all work out." You know, like, it worked out
Wow.
till this point, like
Mhm.
yeah, and so what I feel is kind of crazy is, like, I had always felt up until then, like I always, like, liked 2 things, like, I liked this kind of life, and I like that kind of life, and, like, I like, this kinda career path and that kinda career path, and I never understood how I would, like how is it all gonna merge together? How am I gonna do one thing? I've never been that person, and I felt like when I met him, it was like, "Oh my gosh, this all makes sense." Like,
Wow.
we could totally, like, have a life in Uganda, and we can also have a life,
Wow.
where I'm from anyway, so that was really cool.
Mm.
How long were you there after?
I was there from September 2016 to December 2018.
Oh,
So,
Wow.
wow.
and I went home in
Yeah.
between
Mhm.
that a couple times. Um, but yeah, we knew we were gonna get married 2017. We were like, it wasn't even like a purposeful courting thing, but it was like,
Mhm.
okay, let's date, but also like we know that's what we're doing. Um, so yeah, we got married in 2018. I flew back here. Then he had to get a visa to come here. He
I'm a
flew
huge
here.
fan of 90 Day Fiancé. It's like all I watch.
Really?
So, you had the whole, like, K-1 visa process, or is it different?
It was a whole thing. No, so he didn't come on a fiance visa. He came on a whatever the
Like a
standard. I
regular.
can't think of what
Mhm.
it's called. Just a
Okay.
standard visa. Because we were still doing work with the ministry at the time. So like the plan was that year he was going to work with the ministry in the U.S. and we were gonna get married,
Mm.
and it was like this whirlwind of, like, we're doing this, and then we're gonna get married, and then we're gonna move back to Uganda, and, so yeah, he it was just, like, a short time that he was there, and then we got married in September of 2018, had, like, a week here, and then flew back to Uganda.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were working with the ministry as newlyweds. We were married, like, 2 weeks and started
Wow.
back up with the ministry, and
Wow.
we were actually running a part of the ministry at this point. So we,
Mm.
like yeah, it was
Have you guys gone back since 2018?
So we went with Israel, my oldest would have been 3, and Haven was like 15 months. It was 2022. We went and saw their family. We surprised them, and it was like
Mm.
this huge trip because it takes so much to plan. Yeah,
Yeah.
How long's
it's
that flight?
a really long time. It's like in total like 22 hours.
Wow.
Mhm.
Doing that
Wow.
with kids, I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
We were crazy. We were just like, let's do it. It was totally like, and now I look back, I'm like, I can't believe we did that, but it was so fun. And like, it was actually really easy with those ages. I feel like now it'd be like, okay, there's so many more
Mhm.
logistics, but
Mhm.
yeah, it was fun.
That's so special.
Yeah. If it wasn't such a big undertaking, we want to go like every year,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
someday.
Yeah.
That's so special. It's probably hard for him to be so far away from his.
All of his family's there.
Yeah.
Mm, wow.
And it's really hard. People are always like, oh, like, can they come visit? It's like, no, it's like a whole process. It's
Yeah.
really
Mm.
hard to just come visit here in
Wow.
the US.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
So did your work there impact at all your beliefs about birth or anything as far as your choices around birth, or was it more just prenatal care that you were
It
helping
was
with?
mostly just prenatal care. I think I went into it thinking it was gonna be more in depth than it was,
Mm,
which is okay. It taught me a lot,
mhm,
but, there's so many needs there. There's such a need for not only prenatal care, but just, like, care and birth there. The culture of birth is just it's devastating. It's
mm,
yeah, I could tell stories, but, so I learned a lot, I guess, in that sense of, like I didn't really know what the birth culture was like here before because I had never attended births here
mhm,
prior to going there.
mhm,
So that's, like, all I knew. So there's people who live in the village, like, way out in the middle of nowhere. Like, you're not gonna get to a modern hospital
mhm,
anywhere, yeah, near them. So there's, like, tiny little hospitals out there, but it's, like, a room and a bed
mhm.
and a questionable doctor, like, it's just not the same. But they don't really have home birth, which is so interesting to me. I went there thinking, like, surely they like, home birth is, like, a normal
Yeah,
thing because they don't have access to hospitals. It's not.
interesting.
So there's a huge gap for that, but then also, like, hospital birth, they're seen as, like, this elite like, if you can go to, like, the main
Mm,
hospital in the capital city, you are like
Made it.
yes.
mhm.
If you can get an epidural, that is,
Oh,
like you are yeah.
Rich,
That
rich.
is yeah.
So what do they do?
So for smaller areas, like smaller towns and stuff, or if you're deeper in the village, you go to those hospitals.
the
The
little
room.
ones, yeah.
Mhm. And
And they do everything from heart surgery to deliveries.
I
I
mean
mean, I don't mean to laugh, but that's absolutely crazy.
Mhm.
and I mean, for as far as delivery goes, yeah, like if they can do cesareans, they'll do them, but I don't know that I would yeah.
I mean, if that's the only way.
But
Mhm.
so they don't just have, like, insurance there. You don't have an insurance provider and, like, get whatever paid for,
Mhm.
like, you pay for your care when you go.
Yeah.
So if you can't pay for it, you don't get to leave.
Oh, wow.
Um, it's wild. And then, like, you bring everything with you. You bring your bed sheets, you bring anything you need for healing, um, you bring your food, like, a lot of because there's such a, like, village culture there, like, family will come there, literally bring food and, like, feed the mom. Um, there's no hospital care. It's like you birth
Wow.
there, and then hopefully you can pay for whatever service you got, and then, like, everything else you bring with you. So it's very different. So when we were working with these high-risk women, like, they literally could not get care if they could not pay for it. And some of the stories are crazy, like, there was this one mom who had, like she needed to be on heart medication while she was pregnant and
Mhm.
couldn't afford it, and, like so we're, like, helping through the ministry for her to be able to do that so, like, she can survive this
Mhm.
pregnancy and, like, birth her
Mhm.
baby, and
Wow.
it's totally different. So,
Wow.
I guess it gave me a perspective of, like yeah, just, like, there's so much that goes on with birth, and it's different everywhere,
Yeah.
and I think we have such a small understanding
Totally.
here and yeah, just, like, our one mindset of, like, how things are here in the US, and
Mhm.
it blew my mind when I went there and people were like, "You can get an epidural you can just, like, ask for an epidural there?" And I was like, "Yeah, but, like, why would you want to? Like, don't you guys" they're like, "No, that would be, like, the dream." And I think it's just because that's not the norm there. They're
Yeah.
like, "That would be so cool to just
Yeah.
do that."
So available.
Mhm. Wow.
But
Wow.
Okay, so when did you and Prince start talking about starting your own family? Was it something you wanted to do while you were there, or was it like, "We're gonna finish up"?
well, okay, so I have wanted babies since
You were a baby.
forever, yeah.
Yeah.
I was, like, ready to be a mom before I was married, like, that
Mhm.
I'm meant to do that. And so when we got married, I think we had this idea in our head of, like, we're gonna, like, wait a year. And I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
I feel like it was, like, honestly pressure from other people,
That
like,
was a thing,
that would
yeah.
be so weird to, like, just get pregnant, like, maybe
Mhm.
we should wait. And ironically, like, being in the Christian
Mhm.
culture, I was like you would think that, like, it would just be like, "Yeah, just get pregnant," like but I felt very like, "No, I think we need to wait because we won't be seen as, like, responsible if we
Yeah.
don't," if that
That's
makes
such a
sense?
good point because it would be more, like, biblical to just get pregnant right away. I mean, like start, or I mean, there's no right way, right? But I totally was like a culture thing. Like first you'll get married and then you have to spend a certain amount of time to get to know each other. And
The young marrieds group.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, and I felt I don't really know where directly, but I felt that pressure of like, let's just say we're gonna wait. And like I don't know, like um but was like, no, I'm ready. I'm
Yeah.
literally we had no clue what we were doing. I was totally like, let's just do it, like and he was like, really? Like and we both were just like, yeah. Like why are we waiting? Which don't know that I'd recommend that to everyone. Like maybe don't like just get pregnant right after you're married. But yeah, we like 2 months after we got married, we were like, let's do it. We
And
got
you guys are
pregnant.
back in the States.
We're in
Oh,
Uganda.
in Uganda. Wow.
So, and I don't know what I was thinking, like maybe this will take time, or I don't like I wasn't literally thinking like
Right
this is
now.
just
Let's,
gonna
yeah.
You were just thinking
Mhm.
of getting pregnant.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
we got
Got
pregnant
pregnant.
literally right away. And yeah. And so we were like, okay, what are we gonna do? We had already at that point we were like thinking ahead in the next year, like, are we gonna work with this ministry in the future? And like how is this gonna look anyway? Because even if we waited a year or 5 years for kids, like, do we want to live in Uganda raising our kids? Which people totally do.
Mhm.
Um, but I knew like I wanted to be at home when I gave birth and I wanted to be like near my mom and my family. And
Mhm.
um so we flew back to the US in December of that year. So I'm like newly pregnant. I've not told anyone. Um and then we're just gonna visit. Like in our head, we're gonna visit, basically have like a sabbatical for we had plane tickets for I think like June of the next year. So we were gonna stay at my parents and like see everyone that we
Mhm.
hadn't seen. And this whole time, like going back there, I was like, I can't go back to Uganda and have this baby. Like I was
Because you
literally
would
due.
be,
I was due at the time we'd already be back in Uganda.
and you would be having your baby in one of these hospitals.
I mean they have like really nice hospitals
Okay.
that would be
Expensive, but
like here. Um and expensive in a like it wouldn't be expensive for us to do
true.
that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was like that was never the plan in my
Right.
head.
Mhm.
So we're going back to the US and I'm like, we have to stay here. Like I don't know how we're gonna tell everyone or like how we're gonna do this or like cancel our plane. There was so much involved in that, but I was
Yeah, but that was a huge time of your life.
like we have to stay
Mhm.
here and maybe go back. But like I at least have to have the baby here. So we surprise my parents and tell them, and we tell everyone else. And we're like, surprise, we're also like moving back because, and so yeah, that began that season of our life. We were living with my parents, didn't have jobs. We were totally like,
Mhm.
we were doing ministry work. And so I got a job, pregnant. And then we thought that my husband would get a job pretty quick. And so he applied for a work visa, and we didn't know at the time that it was going to take 10 months, but that took 10
Oh
months
my
for him to get.
Oh,
gosh.
so your whole pregnancy.
So my whole pregnancy I worked and he couldn't work. He wanted to, but he
Yeah.
literally could not work.
Yeah.
And our plan was like, we're both going to work and then we're going to find a place to rent and we're going to move out and we're going to do this.
Mhm.
And we quickly realized like we cannot move out on only your income.
Mhm.
Like we literally can't and we're kind of stuck here. So we're living with my parents and we're like that was not the long-term plan.
Yeah.
And so to go back, like when I found out I was pregnant in Uganda, I was like, I'm gonna have a birth center birth. I'm gonna have a home birth. I'm like not gonna birth in a hospital. So I'm looking up here places. I'm looking at like I think it's Sutter Davis.
Mhm.
The California Birth Center wasn't open yet, but it was like they were talking about opening.
Mm.
I was like, I'm gonna check that out. Like I'm gonna try to find any birth center I can. And when we got back here, um, I was on my mom's insurance still. So she had Kaiser. So we realized like we're gonna have to pay out of pocket with like money we don't have right
Yeah.
now in
Mhm.
this season of life
Yeah.
if I want like a birth center birth. Home birth was like out of the question in my mind because we were
Mhm.
living with my
Yeah.
parents. So like it was just like a
So
whole
many
thing.
families go through this and it's
Mhm.
so
But I just like I didn't think of it before.
yeah.
It's like it's all gonna work out. Like
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm like, and I'm hoping and praying that the California Birth Center is going to open because they said, I think back then they said they were going to open in like June of 2019 and I was due in August. I was like, perfect. Maybe we can like literally save up enough money to birth there. And then they like extended it later out or whatever. I don't remember. I think they opened like September, right? It was like right after I
September
had him.
sounds right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to give birth in a hospital. And like, I did not.
And what did the desire of like having it, where did that come from, do you think? Like, did you know someone that had a home birth or birth center birth? It was just like in you.
I was like, I'm not supposed to birth at a hospital.
Wow.
Like, okay, I have this story. I remember I was like 12 or 13, and my mom and her friends were all talking one time. And one of her friends was having their daughter was having their first baby. So she was going to have her first grandchild. And they were talking about something regarding birth and like epidurals, or like she's totally going to want to get the epidural. And I remember telling all of them, like, I'm not going to get an epidural when I have a baby.
At
And they're,
12.
yeah, I'm like
Wow.
literally straight up just telling them that. And they're like, oh, just wait. Like, oh, honey, just wait. You'll be wanting that. And I was just like, no, like,
Wow.
I don't want that. Um, so that was like always a thing. I don't know that home birth was always like, I didn't know anything about home birth.
Mhm.
I think I just knew I wanted a natural birth and it didn't make sense
In the
to
hospital.
me,
Yeah.
knowing what I knew at that point
Yeah.
to do it in the hospital.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like this like deeply spiritual, like I need to have a home birth. It was just like, I need to do it somewhere that's not at the hospital,
Yeah.
I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And so birth center was kind of like, maybe I'll do that because
Yeah.
that seems like supportive of my natural birth
Yeah.
desires. And I quickly realized there's like not a lot of birth center options here. And anyway, back to the whole like we had Kaiser insurance and it was like that's going to be the lowest cost and it just makes sense. And so that's what we did. Um, I remember they have like hospital tours when you're
Mhm.
pregnant. You can go and see like the birthing suites. And we went to Roseville Kaiser and did that. And we're like going in the rooms and I'm like, oh my God, like I don't want to give birth here. Like I just was like, I cannot imagine like we're standing in the room. I can't imagine doing that. And we leave Kaiser and we're walking through the parking lot and I literally have a panic attack. I'm like, I can't breathe. I'm like, I need to like start crying because I'm just like so overwhelmed. Like
Wow.
I have to do this. It was at that point, it was like, I just have to be okay with this.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy because I feel like I had no one to relate to
Mhm.
at that time,
Mhm.
And I'm like trying to tell my husband this, and he's like, "It's gonna be okay,"
Yeah.
like,
You don't
He
understand.
They don't understand.
yeah,
I hear you. Like, that must have felt so suffocating, and so yeah,
yeah. It was like that where I felt like I had no choice. It was
yeah.
like, this is what.
But, like, instinctually and, like, every ounce of you knew this is not what was supposed to be, even though you didn't know what was the B,
Mm-hmm.
you just knew it wasn't right.
Yeah,
Okay, so you find yourself there.
yeah. So that whole pregnancy was like, I think it was my initiation into surrendering to like, this is what
Mhm.
I didn't know at the time, but like motherhood, like this is what I have to do.
Mhm.
This is just a part of the journey. And so I did all the prep. I literally, because I had that background of like, I was already obsessed with all things birth. I read every single book ever that you could think of on birth, natural birth. I did a course. It was a course at the time. I don't even know if they still have it anymore. But I was like watching the videos. I made my husband watch the videos with me. Um, I wanted a doula. I was like, I have to have a doula because that's literally what I was going to do. So I was like, a doula is going to be invaluable. And so I had a friend who gave birth a couple years prior to me. It was like one of my only friends who had had a baby before me. And she's like, oh, I hired this like doula group, like this one girl, like you should talk to her. And so I reached out to her and I was like, I would love a doula. I'm literally like 20 weeks pregnant or like 18 weeks pregnant when I do this. Like I need a doula right now. And so I reached out to them and I didn't know. So when she had this doula, it was just her. And then I guess from then to like when I was pregnant, it had turned into an agency where there were multiple doulas. So I thought I was getting this one doula, but we meet these other two, and I was like, that's totally fine. Like, we met with them, and they were both really sweet. And we had two because we didn't know when I was going to give birth, and they were on call in different weeks. And so those were my two doulas, like up until I had him. So yeah, I did all of the things in pregnancy to be like, I'm gonna get this natural birth that I want, even in a
Mhm.
hospital. And I wouldn't say I was like a chill mom, but I felt like I was like prepared for all of the things. Like, I'm gonna go to 41 weeks and like, I don't know. I just like had all those things in mind. I remember I had my last prenatal with the doulas, and they were like, yeah, first time moms statistically go until like 41 and whatever. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, like, I'm totally ready to go, like, way past my due date," and I definitely did not. So that was a shock.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I was 30 what was I, 37 and so it was the day before I was gonna be 38 weeks,
Wow.
and I remember getting in bed that night, and I was so big, and so like, I wasn't tired of being pregnant in general, but I was just like, I literally don't know how I'm gonna carry myself around for like another 3 weeks because I expected like
Mhm.
I had a solid 3 weeks to go. And I remember crying in bed to my husband like, how the heck am I gonna do this any longer? Like I really don't think I can. And again, I was not tired of being pregnant. It was like the physical like and I was still working. So the
Wow.
physical like I don't know, just
Mhm.
um demand. I was just like, I'm so done. And so that night we go to sleep, and then I wake up in the morning and I go to the bathroom and there's like a tinge of pink. And I'm like, I like wonder what that means. And so we go to Target and like walk around. I'm like, let's go like, I don't know, do something. And I have to go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom in Target and it's totally my bloody show.
Oh
It's
my
like
gosh.
I was like, what do I don't know what to do. Like, and so we call Kaiser, which looking back, I'm like, I don't why did we do that? But we call because I'm like, do I need to go in, you know?
Mhm.
And they're like, yeah, go ahead and come in and like we'll see what's going on. And so this is in the morning. This is like 10 in the morning. We go drive to Kaiser, right across the street from Target,
Mhm.
and we're waiting and we go in like a little triage room or whatever. And they have us wait for so long. We're just sitting there. And they do like an ultrasound really quick and like check on things. They're like, yeah, I mean, looks like that's what it is. Just go home and call us when things start. And I'm like, okay. So we leave and we go shop around more and we go have lunch. We have Indian food and we're sitting at the restaurant and I'm like I don't really feel that good. And so I go to the bathroom and I come back. I'm like, gosh, why do I like not like my stomach just feels kind of like and I didn't realize like I was having contractions. Like
Mhm.
literally like I'm feeling crampy. I don't feel good because I'm in labor. Like but it wasn't like
Yeah.
clocking. I was
Yeah,
still
when you're not expecting it.
like, no, like, bloody show can happen again, my whole, like, birth stuff before, bloody show can happen, and I can, like, have this baby next week
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I'm only 38 weeks. And we go about our day. That day, I was supposed to meet with this girl, Justine, that I didn't know. Um, this friend that I had was like, "You need to talk to this girl," because I really wanted birth photography and videography. And we again, it was, like, one of those things we just can't afford. And so it was, like, this silent, like, prayer that I would like, "Oh, I want this so bad," but I just gave it up at a certain point because I was like, "I can't ask anyone to do that for free, I literally can't afford it." We were saving up and paying out of pocket to pay for a doula, which I
Mhm.
was like, "That to me, I need to do that over birth photography." So anyway, my friend's like, "You need to talk to this girl, she's starting birth videography, and I think she wants to, like, do it for some people before
Mhm.
she offers
Mhm.
it." I was like, "No, like, I literally can't afford it." She's like, "No, I think that, like, she might be able to do it, like, for free or, like, for a smaller price than her, like, normal price." And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'll see." And so I reached out to her, and that day that all this was happening was the day we were supposed to meet.
Mhm.
And so I meet Justine for the first time at a coffee shop, and we're chatting, and we, like
And you're totally in labor.
yeah, but I'm, like, not again, not, like I'm totally in denial.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like, this could I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Mhm.
and we're talking and we hit it off right away. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like whatever like is going on right now, like I'm so excited. Like, yes, I want you at my birth." And so we connect and she's like, "Okay, great." So like we talk about logistics, like you can call me when you're ready and all this stuff. And I was like, "Cool, like I'll probably see you in a couple weeks," like just like, yeah, like I'll let you know. And I'm having contractions
Did you
there.
tell her that you were like, had this bloody show and
No, because I don't even, it didn't
You weren't
even
even
like,
yeah,
again, because I'm thinking like, and I don't want to be that first time mom who's like,
yeah,
I'm gonna so I'm like, again, this could be a week later,
yeah.
like this could stop.
Some healthy gaslighting.
Yeah. Um, and so we say bye. I'm like, cool, see you in like a couple weeks. And we drive home and I'm like, I'm gonna like, I think I'm gonna sit on my birth ball and like listen to my affirmations or whatever. And Prince is like, I think I'm gonna clean like our room and the bathroom and like everything. He starts like cleaning stuff and like getting stuff ready. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? Like whatever. Okay. And so I'm doing my thing. And we're still living with my parents. So my mom comes home and she like peeks through the door. She's like, "How are you doing?" And I'm like, on my birth, you know, doing my thing. And she like sits on the bed. She's like, "Are you having contractions?" I was like, "Yeah, I've been having," I'm like timing them at this point. "I've been having them." She's like looking at the contraction timer. She's like, "How are they feeling?" She's like, "They're literally happening." I mean, pretty decently. Like, I don't remember the exact like
Mhm.
time frame. And then she tries to talk to me and I like have a contraction. I'm like breathing through it and like closing my eyes and not looking at her. And she's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "I think I need to take a shower." And so I get in the shower. And at that point, I'm like, okay, like, I don't know that I can pretend that this isn't happening anymore, but I'm not going to say anything. And so I get out of the shower. I'm like, I'm going to dry my hair. I'm going to curl my hair. I'm going to put makeup on. I'm like going to do all this stuff just in case. And I am standing in front of the bathroom trying to dry my hair. And I literally, like, I keep having contractions and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So my hair is like half dry. And my mom's like, "Do you want to call everyone? Like, I think this is happening." I was like, "No, I don't want to call anyone. I don't
You
want to
hadn't
go
told your
anywhere yet."
doula?
No, I'm like, haven't told anyone. Oh, I should back up. So I'm giving birth 2 weeks to 3 weeks earlier than I thought.
Mhm.
So the doula that I connected with the most and really wanted was going to be the doula that I would have at like 41 weeks.
Mm.
And I was like, cool, I don't even have to worry because that's who I'm going to have for
Yeah.
sure. And sorry, this is like a side story, but we had been going through pregnancy with these two doulas. About halfway through, one was no longer a part of this doula agency. So they bring on another one. I forgot to say that. I meet her like halfway through when I'd already had these doulas. And it was like, I don't feel
Not
like
it.
connect. Yeah, this wasn't it. But I didn't know how to vocalize that. And I felt like if I told this other doula, I didn't want to cause any like issues. And I felt like if I told this other doula that it was gonna cause issues and, like, were they even gonna have another doula to, like, bring on? And so I just, like, stayed quiet, which I shouldn't have, and I'm usually someone that, like, speaks up. But I'm like, "No, it's fine. It's gonna be fine." And then when I found out their, like, rotation of when they would be on call, I was like, "Oh, it's totally gonna be fine. I'm gonna have the one that I
Baby at
want."
40. Yeah.
So I'm 38 weeks and clearly in active labor, and I'm like, "I don't wanna call
That
this
doula.
doula."
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, how to verbalize that, and also, like,
Mhm.
I'm very much in labor at this point, so I'm not, like, just, like, chatting with everyone like normal. My mom's like, "Do you wanna call everyone?" And I'm like, "No." And I'm also like, "No," because I don't wanna leave the house. I'm like, "No, I wanna stay here in my bedroom and,
Mhm.
like, not go anywhere." And so I'm having this internal battle of, like, what do I do? Like, I have no choice. I felt like I had no choice. I have to go, but I don't want to, and I'm not ready. And finally, it's at the point I'm, like, crawling. I'm, like, trying to, like, crawl to get, like, the dress I wanna wear and stuff, and my mom's like, "Okay, we need to call everyone, and I think we should go because I was gonna have my mom there. And so Prince is, like, packing the bags in the car. I'm just, like they all are out there, and I'm having this moment alone in our room, and I'm like, "I don't wanna do this, but I have to do this." And, like, trying to, like, have a pep talk with myself, like we're just gonna do this and like it's gonna be fine. And so I get in the car and the car ride was excruciating. It was only like 10 or 15 minutes long, but I was very much like, again, like now I'm in active labor. And I had not been in labor for that long. Like I had the early labor, whatever, during the day.
Mhm.
But now it's full blown active. And we get to Kaiser and we go through the double doors. And I had this like realization of like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to go in here and I'm going to be like totally different when I walk out of these doors again. Like it was like the weirdest like
Mm.
moment of like I was literally walking through the doors and like this is like where I'm gonna have my baby. And so we go in, we go to triage. The nurses are totally trying to talk to me and be like, sign these papers and like we're gonna get you a triage room. And I'm like, like I'm like
Mhm.
moaning, like I literally am in a different world.
Mhm.
And I'm just ignoring them. And they want to put me in a triage room, but not let Fritz come with me. And so I'm, like, yelling at them, like, "No, I want him to come with me." He's like, "It's okay, like, I'm gonna go get our bags, I'll be right back, like, I'll be with you." And so they put me in this room by myself, and I'm, like, leaning over, like, the bed, like, going through these contractions, and this lady comes in, I'm assuming a nurse, and she's like, "We need to check you, like, let's get you on the bed." And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Well, we need to honey, I'm sorry, we need to check you, like, before we can get you in your room." And, like, again, I'm having those thoughts of, like, I don't wanna do that. But I can't verbalize that, and no one's in the room with me, like, Prince isn't in the room with me, my doula wasn't there yet, and so I get on the bed and I let them check me. So, I was like the first thing, I'm like, "I didn't want that." I was, like, 6.5 centimeters.
Wow.
She's like, "Wow, oh my gosh, that's so amazing," and, they bring in ultrasound equipment, which I'm not sure why, but they did a little ultrasound, I don't know if that's standard, and, like, baby's head was down, which it had been, and they're like, "Okay, let's get you to your room," and so I, like, walk, contraction to the room. And at this point, I'm, like, trying to ignore everything and be, like, in the zone, but it just was impossible. It was, like, tons of people are coming in the room, they have these bright lights on, they wanna strap the monitor to my belly so they can, like, for however long, I think it's, like, 15 to 20 minutes, they wanna, like, hear the baby,
Mhm.
and I am trying to be like, "I'm not here, I'm just, like, doing my own thing," and Um, everyone comes at that point. We totally forgot my birth plan in the car. I remember I wrote this extensive birth plan. I was like, "You're gonna give this to every single person in the room." And Prince was like, "I forgot it in the car." And so, which is so funny. I don't know that written birth plans matter that much, but to me it was like my safety net,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so I continued to labor. I labored in the shower. I got into bed. I did not want to be on my back. I was like, no one's gonna force me to be on my back. Um, I was like laboring over the back of like the hospital bed or whatever. And I remember I started to get kind of pushy and they checked me and they were like, don't like, you have to like not push. And I was like, my body's literally like doing that.
Mhm.
And I think I was only like 8 centimeters. And so I'm like trying to not push as contractions are coming, my body's pushing. And I did that for a long time. And so finally, I think they checked me. I was complete. And I pushed for almost 2 hours. It was like an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes. I don't remember exactly. But I remember I was so tired at that point. They didn't even tell me, like, you have to get on your back. I was just like, I have to lay down because I am exhausted. And so I was like semi reclined back. And I remember looking around the room and like no one was helping me. Like everyone was staring at me. And I was like, why is no one in my head? Why is no one telling me?
Not even your doula.
She was like there, but like I remember thinking like I have been pushing for a long time. This
Mm.
feels like it's been like forever.
Yeah.
And no one's like trying to get me in different positions. No one's I don't know. I was just like,
Mhm.
can someone do something or like
Mhm.
encourage me or whatever? And so Justine, who's in the back, is like, "Kelsey, you're so close, you could do," and I literally was like, I wanted to cry because like, she felt like I was like, "You're more of my doula in this moment than, like, anyone in this room." So she's, like, back there encouraging me, which as a birth like, now knowing as a birth photographer, you're not always there to, like,
Yeah.
do those things. But I think she saw in that moment, like, I needed
Yeah.
something. I was like, "Someone help me."
Yeah.
And I'm doing all of this unmedicated. I'm, like, not gonna get an epidural. I had told my mom, I told my husband and my doula, like, "Don't even offer it. Like, I'm not gonna get one." And so I'm, like, coming up on 2 hours of pushing unmedicated, and she's like, "You can do it, Kelsey. You're so close." Like, I think at that point they could, like, see his head, but it wasn't like, it does the, like, in and out.
Mhm.
And I'm laying there like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I'm just, like, totally out of it." And then they start whispering and talking about, like, "Okay, Kelsey," like, the midwife, because I wanted a midwife, not an OB, who was on call, was like, "Okay, Kelsey, I need you to, like, push. Like, we need to get him out." And I heard whispering, and I think they were talking about, like, "Please get me, like, the vacuum or forceps or whatever." And I'm like, "No, no, no. Like, we're not doing any of that today." And so I push him out, and he comes out, and they lay him on my chest, and I'm like, looking at this baby on me, like, "What just happened?" And, like, I know this is my baby, but, like, I don't know. I was, like, totally out of it, and not in a different world where it's, like, that's what happens in birth, like, you go somewhere else, and then you,
Mhm.
like, take a minute, and you come back to
Mhm.
earth. It was, like, just completely out of it, like I was drugged, and I
Mhm.
wasn't. And so I'm, like, holding him, and then they take him away from me and take him to the warmer and immediately cut his cord, and they're, like, already trying to get my placenta out. They give me a shot of Pitocin without consent. They say, "We're gonna do this," and I'm like, "I can't,"
You're not
like
even back in your body yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then they bring him back all wiped down with a hat
Mm.
and a blanket, and I'm, like,
I'm
looking
so
at him,
sorry.
and I'm just, like I think in that moment, it wasn't like, the weight of that didn't really hit me. I was just kinda like, "What is going on?" And all the nurses are, like, so proud of me. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you just did that." And, like, I think they just didn't expect I don't know, I was like, "Is it not common for women to, like, not have epidurals in the hospital?" Because they literally were like, "Oh my gosh, like, that's amazing." And they see him, and he looks big. He does. He looks big, especially for a 38 weeker. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, how much do you think he weighs?" And they're all like, 9 pounds, 10 pounds. He was 8, 15, so not that big, but, like, he
That's
did
pretty
look
big.
big.
Yeah.
And they were like, "You just did that." And so, like, that part, it was, like, really sweet that they were all, like, excited. But now I think about it, I'm like, I wish that was just normal, you know?
Mhm.
But they were excited because they didn't see that often. I think they were waiting for me to be like, "Just give me that epidural," you know?
Mhm.
Um, and so after that, my doula is, like, trying to help me, like, latch him, and I'm like, "I don't wanna do any of that right now." I'm just like, "Can we" I'm still like, my legs are up. I'm like, "Can we just,
Mhm.
like, get to a room?" And so, yeah, they get me all situated in a wheelchair and, like, take me to my other postpartum room. And I truly don't remember the rest of my like, that stay.
Mhm.
It's, like, very blurry. I'll, like, try to recall things. I'm like, "That's so weird. I can't really remember that." Like, I remember nurses coming in and trying to help me, like, breastfeed a little bit. They tell me to hand express, and I was like, "I don't know why I'm hand expressing and, like, feeding him with that, but
Mhm.
okay." And,
And this was all the same day. So what time was he born? They started.
okay, so active labor started, it was, like, 6:30 that evening when my mom had come in.
Mhm.
He was born at 2:50.
Wow.
So I had a
Fast.
pretty fast
Yeah.
Mhm.
first birth.
I bet Justine, like, as a birth worker now, you're like she's probably,
Yeah.
like, dying, like, "I
She's like,
just
"Oh
met
my
this
gosh."
girl this
Yeah.
morning."
And so, yeah, no, literally, I was like, "See you in 2 weeks." And it was, like, a couple hours later. Um, so yeah, it was a pretty fast labor. I'd say pushing felt really long, but, like,
Yeah.
everything else felt fast. Um, but yeah, I was still just like, I don't really know. I was just trekking along, like, letting them do whatever that because we stayed, like, another day.
Yeah.
So he was born so early that, like, we were there that day and then left the following day. They wanted to keep me another day. They tested his blood sugars and stuff because he was big for gestation or whatever, and so I had to kinda, like, fight them on that, and I was like, "No, I wanna leave." I wanted to leave that day, but I was like, "I wanna leave first thing in the morning the next day." Um, Breastfeeding started to hurt, And so I was like trying to get help. They brought in a lactation consultant the morning that we were leaving. And she was like, yeah, like I was already all
Tore up.
torn up. And she was like, okay, here's the pump. You can take it home. And I was like, okay. Like didn't know what to ask and had no clue, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we went home. I remember I could hardly walk out of the hospital. I was like, no one is going to offer to like give me a wheelchair. Like I'm literally like slowly walk your belly's like jelly. All of this is new to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to the hospital. I'm like, oh my gosh, we like have this baby that we're taking home. Like this is so weird. And so yeah, we go home. Justine had come again a couple days later because she didn't get a ton of like footage. She's like, I'd love to like come and record you guys at home. And so I'm like, yeah, sure. And I remember just like loving her so much. I was like, I want to be your best friend. Like I want to ask you all the questions because like you mother the way I want to mother, but I don't have anyone around me that does, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a whole other story. But yeah, we're home and I'm only gonna have 6 weeks of time off before I have to go to work again. And
Wow.
so I don't really know what I thought about breastfeeding. Like I wanted to breastfeed, but I think part of me was like, I'm just not going to think about that because like I'm going to have to go back to work. I don't know how I'm going to make it all work,
Mm-hmm.
but in my mind I wanted to breastfeed long term. And I had no support. It was like I saw like 4 different Kaiser lactation consultants. At the time I didn't know any like private.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know what an IBCLC was, you know. And no one at the hospital has any resources. So it's like I don't know where to find what I'm looking for,
Right.
basically. This was like my whole journey of my first pregnancy and birth with him. Like, I don't know what to find, or no, I don't know where to find the community that I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyway, every lactation consultant was like, oh, I think he's fine. I'm like, no, I'm like curling my toes and like, I want to cry when I feed him. And
Mm-hmm.
like, Prince would bring him to me crying, and I would be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because it's so painful.
Yeah.
And so I ended up pumping very soon out of necessity of like, I can't do this. Um, and then we naturally like would give him bottles and I like try to breastfeed him a little bit. And um, yeah, I went back to work. I got 2 more weeks, so I got to stay for 8 weeks. Um, it ended up being because I went back to work and then got mastitis so bad that
Oh
I
my
had to
gosh.
go, yeah, we went to urgent care and then they were like, you can take antibiotics. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm dying. I'm like, have a like 104-degree fever
Oh my.
and I'm like red and swollen,
Mm-hmm.
trying to work my desk job.
Oh my gosh.
And so I called my boss and I'm like, I have mastitis. I need to stay home for like another week. And it was so hard. It was like, I remember looking at my husband and I was like, I told him 2 things. I was like, the next baby I'm going to have at home. I don't care what it takes. And I'm quitting my job.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay. And so,
Deal.
well, and he still didn't have his work visa at that point. So we're just like waiting for him to be able to work.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get to work until it was like October or November of that year. So he stayed at home with our son while I went to work.
And you just continued the pumping journey.
I did for a little bit and then it just became a chore at
Yeah.
work. I worked for a guy and like there was no one else in the office. I was basically an admin for
Mm-hmm.
a financial advisor. So it was just me and like if I wasn't at the front,
Mm-hmm.
he like kind of had to do the admin stuff. So I always felt this
Yeah.
like pressure of like I have to hurry up. And then I wasn't pumping as much because like I was going longer between,
Yeah.
all the
Yep.
things that I just didn't know. And I had created an oversupply on accident. That's why I kept getting mastitis. But I had a huge freezer full of milk. So I was like, well, he has enough,
Mm-hmm.
for a while. And then yeah, we just went to formula. And I remember crying to my mom like I wanted to do this so bad. And she was like, "It's okay." Like she was trying to comfort me, which and I have a great relationship with my mom, but like she went back to work after all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, formula fed us after
Mm-hmm.
those weeks. She breastfed and then that's what you did.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "It's okay. Like he's not going to remember this. Like you're such a good mom." And I'm like, "I'm going to remember this." Like I wanted that. And so that was really hard for me to like buy that formula and be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like this is what we're going to do, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did that and I worked all through like his first year and that was my introduction into
Motherhood.
motherhood.
Wow.
Well, first of all, I'm thirsty.
Yeah, I know. Mocktails.
We always forget.
We always forget. That was our longest time we didn't forget. Or we did forget.
I don't know. One time I feel like it was the end. But okay, so you can pass out the
Okay.
mocktails.
They're a little separated.
Just
Okay, what's the
give it a
recipe?
swirl.
Sitting there for a little bit.
It's the raspberry rose poppy with a little bit of creamer
Cheers.
and raspberries for
And happy Valentine's Day or
Yes.
Galentine's. I love it.
I've never had that one before. It's good.
It's good.
So Prince gets a job. We're like trekking along. We're both working. But he's working on the weekends. I work during the week. We're like trying to like make it work. And we're like, we are going to plan to move out in this next year. So, well, the next year. So like Israel turns 1. It's like August of 2020. So that was another thing. 2020 happened. And we were thinking at the time, like, we're going to start making plans to go back to Uganda. And then it was like, just kidding.
Yeah.
We were going to go visit April of 2020.
Oh,
We had
nope.
tickets. That wasn't
Definitely not.
happening. They canceled our tickets, whatever. So we're like, okay, we're here. So we're both going to continue to work and like move out was our plan. And Israel turns a year. And then 2 months later, I end up pregnant. And it wasn't planned. It was quite a shock. And I was like, oh my gosh, like now we have to move out. Like I am not doing this. We're not going to do a repeat. And we had been talking about like in the new year, let's go start looking like at houses and house hunting. Because with rental prices, we were like, I don't think we can even afford to rent right now. So my mom had agreed like, hey, let's look at houses together and like maybe we can co-sign and you guys can get a house. And so I got pregnant. What was that? So it would have been October of 2020. Found out in November. And it was right around election time. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like so stressed. What is going on? The world is ending and I'm pregnant again and we need to move out. And so we tell my parents and my mom's like totally a planner and just is like, my dad was like, congratulations. And she's like, oh my gosh, like, what are we going to do? We need to find you a house, you know?
You need to have this home birth.
Yeah. Like, well, she was just like, oh my gosh, like, are you guys going to live with us forever? Like, I love you, but
she's like, not 2 babies here.
and now you ask her, she'd be like, move back in with me. But, so yeah, we're like, now we're on a timeline. Like, we need to find a house. And I told him, like, I'm going to have a home birth. If it's outside on their lawn, I don't care. If it's in the bedroom of my parents' house, like, I literally don't care. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It will be in a house this time.
Yeah. Anywhere but Kaiser.
Yeah. I'm like, and at this point, I wasn't on her Kaiser anymore because I think you're on it to a certain age or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just at the cutoff with Israel. And so I'm like, we're going to have a home birth. Also, we're going to save for it or like figure out how to pay for it. And so what is this? It's beginning of 2021. Yeah. So I like interviewed some midwives. We found midwives that we both were like, we liked. And we met them on Zoom because that's what you did in 2021. And yeah, we started having our prenatal home visits at my parents' house. And I was just like determined, like, we're going to find a house. And we're like house hunting every weekend, looking at like random places, like in Sacramento, just like places like whatever we can afford. And we're just like not finding anything. Or people would like buy it before we did. It was just a crazy time, I feel like. And yeah, so that's the beginning of the year. And then we all end up with COVID at like, gosh, what was this? It was March. And my dad got really sick. So like I have no symptoms other than I can't taste. Which was funny at the time. I called my mom. I'm like, I'm at work. Like I think I have, you know, you couldn't like say the word or whatever.
I had it a few months ago and I was at her Christmas party and I went to go like smell the candle that everyone's passing around and I was like,
what does it smell like?
Yeah, that's what she knows.
Shit.
She was like, oh.
Oops.
No, I was like eating my lunch and I'm like, like, why can't I like taste this?
Oh
Anyway,
my
I call my
gosh.
mom. She's like, and but she's just like, well, I mean, you should probably like get tested and go home.
Mm-hmm.
I tell my boss, and I have to now go home and be quarantined for however long. It was like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have any other symptoms. Everyone else got the typical sick, but my dad got really sick, and we didn't really like notice. He was just like, because he wasn't very vocal about like how he was feeling until we're like coming up on the 2 weeks, and he tells my mom, I need to like go to the hospital. Like I can't breathe. And so she tells me that, like Prince and I are out. Actually, I don't know what we were doing. We were somewhere. And because we were like fine at that point, like past the
Yeah.
thing, but I still wasn't like going back to work yet. And she's like, I'm going to take your dad to the ER. Like he feels like he can't breathe. And I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, like, but he'll be fine. Like, whatever. Not whatever, but I was just kind of like nonchalant about
Mm-hmm.
it. So we came back home, we said bye, and they left. And that was April 1st. And then another day goes by, and a couple days go by, and like the doctors are calling. He gets a room, the doctors are calling my mom, like, his oxygen levels are like terrible. We're gonna have to put him on CPAP. And then they're trying to do whatever they can to like get his breathing fine. And then he continues to get worse and worse. And they're like, we need to put him on a ventilator,
Wow.
or things are just gonna, they basically like scare my mom into like, that's like the last option. And I'm like telling her, like, don't do that. Like, all I've heard from those stories are not good endings. And she's like, I feel like I have no choice. And like, he's agreeing with it. And
Mm-hmm.
so they put him on a ventilator. And I remember we called him right before they were going to do it. And I'm like, so I'm 27 weeks pregnant at this point. And Israel is, um, I hate crying. I'm not a cute crier either. I like literally can't talk. Um,
Take your time.
it feels like it's been like so long since I've talked about this. So Israel and my dad were like BFFs, and he is, what is he? He's like 20. He's got to be like 20 months at this
Mm-hmm.
point. And so he has no idea what's going on. And I'm like, okay, let's like FaceTime um Poppy, like let's talk to him, because I'm like, I have no clue what's gonna happen at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had a feeling, but it was just like, I'm not gonna go there because that's like, and so we say bye to him, and like Israel's kind of like, I don't really know what's going on because we're FaceTiming because we can't go see him.
Mm-hmm.
My mom hadn't like seen him since she dropped him off. And
Mm-hmm.
so she's thinking that she can't, that's just how it is. Like she can't
Mm-hmm.
go see him. And I'm like, no, I'm literally going to call the hospital and like tell them that they have to let you in. And so I'm like looking up, I'm 27 weeks pregnant at work, looking up like hospital policy. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, this is not okay. Like, and so I call Kaiser and I'm like, you need to let my mom come and see my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And the nurse is like, okay, like, let me see what I can do. So they let her come because he's in ICU. They let her come, and I called her at work. I'm like, I just talked to Kaiser, and um, she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Because she just thought she like couldn't go. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 you don't like let them do that to you. I'm all like fiery and
Yeah.
like that's not okay. Like regardless of what happens, like that's not okay. And so she's able to go see him. She has to like mask up or whatever. Um, so that's that Friday. She says goodbye to him, basically,
Wow.
because she doesn't know what's gonna happen. And he goes on the ventilator, and then Monday morning they call us and they're like, it's not good. Like you guys all need to come. And so they would only let immediate family. So like me and my sister, my mom
Mm-hmm.
can come, but they won't let my husband come. Which my husband and my dad had become best friends at this point too. So he's like,
Mm-hmm.
what do I do? I'm like, I don't really know at this point. Like if I can fight
Wow.
to like make us all like get there. And so we go to ICU, and they won't let me go in because I'm pregnant. Like I have to wear a mask, but they
Mm.
won't let me go into his room. And there's a nurse in the room with like a literal hazmat suit, whatever. It's like another world, like
Mm-hmm.
another universe. I can't even like, he's on the ventilator and he's like not gonna make it. So we're all basically like saying goodbye. I tell them to let my mom in because they were gonna make us, like, stand outside the glass doors, like, they had their
Mhm.
room, and so she's able to go in, but they, like, cover her up on all this stuff and, like, double mask her, and
Mm.
anyway, so I watched him pass away through glass doors in the ICU at
Wow.
27 weeks pregnant, and I was like it was, like, the most
Wow.
crazy experience. We left the hospital and we were like,
What
"What
What
just
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 happened?
happened?
happened?"
Oh my
Literally,
god.
'cause it was April 1st that my mom took him in, and it
How
was
old's your
April
dad?
12th. He
Wow.
was late 50s.
Oh
Wow,
my
that's so
god.
young.
Mhm, and so it just, like, wasn't obviously, it wasn't expected,
Oh my
Mhm.
god.
and the all the events that happened, it was, like,
Yeah.
so quick that, like,
Mhm.
none of us had time to process that, like,
Mhm.
12 days, it just was, like I just thought he was going in to, like,
Get some
get
oxygen.
help with his breathing, yeah, and, like, get over this thing.
I had no idea you lost your dad.
Yeah. So that happened.
Pregnant.
So I'm
Yeah.
still, like, planning on my home birth, and at this point we were in the middle of we had found a house. We were in the middle of, like, signing. We
Mhm.
had to, like, keep pushing it off because my dad went to the hospital,
Mhm.
and we were thinking, like, "Oh, when he gets better, like, we'll all whatever." And so then he didn't, and it was, like, this whole thing. My mom's, like, changing things of the trust, and we're, like, trying to, like,
Your poor mom.
Mhm.
figure out all of this, and now she went from, like, all of us living there to, like, she lost my dad,
Yeah.
and we were moving out, and I felt, like, this guilt of, like, maybe we should just stay. But we had already gotten this house because it happened all at the same time, and so, yeah, so we get this house, and it's, like, what? End of April at that point, and we're like, "Go time." Like, we need to, like, get this house ready. It was, like, renters had been in it before. We were like, "We need
Mm.
to, like, tear everything out, paint, whatever." And so Prince is trying to do all that before we move in because 'cause we're like, "We need to move in before we have this baby." And, um, yeah, so we move in a month before my due date, so June of 2021, and I was due with her. We didn't find out the gender, so I didn't know it was a her, but I was due it was, like, mid-July, and, um yeah, all that in the midst of all that happening, I was so excited for my homework. Like, um, I didn't have any fears. I was like, I'm totally doing this. But the one
Mhm.
fear that I did develop in that pregnancy was like, I was terrified of something happening after birth and having to like go to the hospital for some reason,
Mm.
and then them separating me from her.
Yeah, well, you just
Because
had that
that whole
traumatic
time,
experience.
well, in that
Yeah.
time too, it was like, if someone tested positive for
Mhm.
COVID or whatever, I was like, no one's gonna take my baby away from me. That was literally like, I kept replaying that over and over in my head, like nothing can happen after.
Mhm.
And I don't know why. I had never had a fear prior to that, but I was like, what if I hemorrhage? What if she's not breathing or like my
Mhm.
baby's not breathing or whatever?
Mhm.
And so I had to really work through that. Like no one's gonna I was literally like, "You can, like, pry my dead hands out
Yeah.
of my house, like, you're not taking me to the hospital," is how
Yeah,
I felt. Um, I already had my reservations about the hospital, but this just, like, solidified, like,
totally.
you don't go there when you're healthy, like, you
Mhm.
don't go there and come out okay, basically, is how I
Mhm.
felt. And anyway, so this birth, I was gonna have everyone at. My mom was gonna be at, I was letting my sister come, Justine was gonna be there again, and then she's bringing a friend who was learning birth photography, who I had met during my pregnancy. We became fast friends too.
Mhm.
And then I had my 2 midwives. It was just like it was gonna be a party. And so, I get to close to the end of that pregnancy. I'm 39 weeks, and we're driving to the chiropractor because I was seeing a chiropractor all throughout my pregnancy.
Mhm.
And I had this moment in the car of like, I feel like I'm ready.
Mm.
And so I just like told baby, like, I'm ready whenever you are. And we go, we all get adjusted, we come back, and again, Prince starts doing like all this housework, and I'm like, what are you?
It's funny, he gets, like, the
Yeah,
pre-labor
I'm like,
nesting
I
urge.
know he does. Yeah, that's how you know I'm gonna go into labor. We joke about that now. And so he's like cleaning the house and like doing stuff outside, like yard work, and I'm like, okay. And I go lay down for a little bit because Israel was with him, and I get up and I feel water. And I'm like, um, did I pee myself or like did my water just break? So I go to the bathroom and I stand up and like more stuff comes out and I'm like, I don't want to like sound the alarm, but I think my water just broke. And so I
Mhm.
text my midwives and they're like, okay, well, go ahead and like lay down for a certain amount of time. I don't know. They told me like 20 minutes or whatever, and then get up again and see if anything else comes out. And so I lay down and I'm just like scrolling on my phone and I get up and a ton comes out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like my water broke. And I'm thinking, like, this is like in the movies. Like, this doesn't happen. Like, what do I do?
Mhm.
So I go tell Prince, like, my water just broke. And my mom was coming over to drop something off. So she comes over and I tell her, and she's like, oh my gosh, well, we're going to have a baby. And it was July 8th. So she's like, oh, we're going to have a July 9th baby. Like thinking,
Mhm.
surely it'll be like within the next 24 hours. I'm like, okay, like this is it. And so we all go to bed. Then I literally can't sleep. I'm like, I need to sleep. I know this is going to happen. I
Mhm.
need to sleep. Another thing is, everyone thought this birth was gonna be super fast because, like, second-time moms are notoriously fast,
Mhm.
faster than first-time births. Like, Justine, everyone was like, "This is gonna go way faster." I'm thinking, like, they say cut your first birth in half. I'm like, "Okay, well, that was, like, 8 hours, so what is this gonna be, like, a
Right.
4-hour birth?" Don't recommend thinking that, but we were all, like, thinking that. And so I thought my water broke whenever contractions start, like, this is gonna be probably go time, you know? And so midnight, I start feeling the slow, like, crampy feeling. And I'm like, okay, like these are contractions. And I'm like closing my eyes. I'm like trying to force myself to sleep because I'm like, I don't know what
Mhm.
this will bring. And I like broken up sleep on and off. It was like 5 by the time I was like, I need to get out of bed and get up. So I took some pictures. I have a diaper on at this point because I'm like leaking. And I took my last pictures and I'm like walking around the house, just like, what do I do? Like I'm having contractions, but they were kind of intense, but they were like far enough apart where I was like, who knows how long this will
Mhm.
take. And so my mom texts me at like 6:30, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I'm okay, I'm having contractions. And her and my sister come up with like Starbucks at like 7:30. They're like all excited. And I'm like, this is not like happening yet. But we eat, and I'm, like, uncomfortable enough to where it's, like, things are happening, but I don't want anyone here yet. Like, I don't want
Mhm.
anyone watching me. So they take Israel and they go, and that begins an entire day of me having intense contractions, like, 10 to 15 minutes apart all day long. And
Mhm.
so we get to, like, 2 p.m., and I'm like, "What the heck is going?" Like, this is nothing like my first labor. My first labor was very textbook, like,
Mhm.
literally exactly how you would think a labor would go, and this is, like, things are getting more intense, like, I'm leaning over the couch and breathing, but then, like, I don't have another contraction for, like,
Mhm.
15 minutes, and so I call my midwives and tell them that, and they're like, "Well, we can come over, like, we'll come check on you," and so they come. This again, it's, like, late afternoon, like, 2 or 3, and we're just talking to them, they're like, "Well, I mean, we can." They're offering, like, different herbs and stuff, like, we can do herbs to, like, see if it'll make things go faster or,
Mhm.
offering all these other things. And I'm like, no, like, I just intuitively was like, no, I don't really want to take any of that. I don't feel good about that. I think I'm okay with just like waiting. And they're like, that's fine. Like, we'll check in with you in a little bit. And so they leave. And I'm just like, what do I do? Like, I can't. It was intense enough where I couldn't just like watch a movie, but like so far apart that it was like, I just feel stuck. And so we're just
Mhm.
like at the house. And I get to the point, so it's getting, like, later in the evening, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, we're gonna come up on 24 hours since, like, this all kind of started."
Mhm.
And now I just want people, like, with me because 'cause I'm like, "I'm gonna go crazy." So, my mom and sister come back over, and they bring milkshakes. Then my chiropractor comes over because I had been texting her like, "Hey, I don't know what's going on, but, like, this is not progressing." I had texted Justine and Cassie to let them know in the morning, and so I didn't know this at the time, they told me later, but they were literally in Auburn, like, at a breakfast place, like, waiting for me to, like, call them, and so they were like we went home, but, like, everyone was like, this is gonna go fast.
Yeah.
And so my chiropractor comes over, she adjusts me and like works on some stuff. And then my mom and sister come over and we're all just sitting in the living room. And I'm on the birth ball and we're chatting and I'm like, this feels better. Like now I'm glad people are here with me. And then 8 o'clock rolls around and I'm like in my head about like, okay, it's been 24 hours since my water broke. This doesn't feel like it's really like going anywhere. I need to not think about that or I'm gonna like panic.
Mm-hmm.
And things like slowly start getting more intense. And finally, it was about, I want to say it was like 10:30. I was like, okay, now I'm like in the zone. Like I can't really talk through them. But again, they're still not that close together. Like they never got closer together. And so Prince is like, do you want me to call everyone? I'm like so torn because I'm like, what if this goes for like another 10 hours like this? Like I don't know. Gaslighting myself again.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, I mean, I feel like I should let them know like things are kind of progressing. I'm like, no, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, it's fine. Like, just call them and let them know. And so at this point, I'm like leaning over like a wall. We have this like half wall in our living room, and I'm over that, just like doing things on my own. And so everyone starts like trickling in. And then still in my head, I'm like, but this could take longer because like we're getting to like the midnight time,
Mm-hmm.
when contractions started. And so everyone's there, and then one of the midwives goes to check on baby, and I wanted to have a water birth with this birth, so, like, we already had the tub set up. She's like, "Are you ready to get in?" And I look at her, I was like, "No." And everyone laughed. I was like, "'Cause I know what's gonna happen when I get in." Like, I just, like, wasn't ready. I also had a little bit of a fear of, like so with Israel's birth, I pushed for so long. I was like, "What if my body does that again?" And I'm like, "I
Mm-hmm.
can't push faster, or,
Yeah.
like, more efficient." I don't know. And so anyway, I got in the tub and it was just like so intense. I do not recommend having your water break before labor. It was like,
Yeah.
not that you can always control that, but it was a lot more intense. But my body started pushing. I got in the tub. I think it was like, what was that, like midnight at that point. And she was born at 1.
On July
So
10th?
yes.
Okay.
So I started July 8th, labored all July 9th, and then yeah,
Mm-hmm.
literally like right after on July 10th. Um, she was born and I caught her. We didn't know if she was a boy or a girl, but I like knew my whole pregnancy that she was a girl. And yeah, and sure enough she was. And like it was just I was like, I can't believe again that I did that. But this time it was like so much different when I
Mm-hmm.
brought her to my chest and like I was there,
Mm-hmm.
and got to enjoy it. I remember like bursting into tears, like, what the heck? Also, that was like so hard. It took so long, but like
Yeah.
it was such a different experience.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel drugged and out of it this time. I was like, I'm here and like everyone that loves me is like around me and like,
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, like we stayed in the tub for a little bit. We got out. I got to go to my own bed, which was like that's what I thought of all in labor. Like when I was in labor and I was like, I don't know how long this is gonna take, what I would think about. They tell you envision something, whatever, that makes you
Yeah.
happy. I literally would think about the moment of like getting in bed with my baby. And so, yeah, I like waddled to my room and got in my bed, and it was just like, this is exactly how it was supposed to be, and
Mm-hmm.
like they did all the things, The midwives weighed her and all the stuff. Israel came in. He slept the whole time. We wanted to wake him up to like meet her, but he was kind of like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was just so much different. I feel like that
Yeah.
was the birth that healed me,
Mm-hmm.
and was so redemptive for so many reasons. Not only from my first birth, but like from that season too
Mm-hmm.
of pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, her postpartum, besides breastfeeding stuff, her postpartum was a dream. She was a dream baby, like literally the best co-sleeper and the best everything. Like it was so night and day from the experience that I had the first time. And I had my people this time. It's like I found midwives and like I found, like they had all the resources that I needed to like essentially be the mother that I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be, and have that community.
Yeah.
And I felt that difference. Um, yeah, I remember breastfeeding a couple days in and I was like, I like immediately I'm like triggered because I'm like, this is what it felt like with
Mm-hmm.
Israel. I'm like, no, 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 I can't do this. And so they had connected me with an IBCLC that I found out later was not working at the time that I had Israel. But I was like, can I get into you like literally as soon as possible? And she got me in that week, and that just like changed my life. It was like, oh my gosh, like someone actually helping me
Yeah.
The right
with
resources.
breastfeeding and like wanting me to be able to breastfeed
Yeah.
because I want to,
Yeah.
And so I fought for that. I was like, I am absolutely breastfeeding her, like there was no other option. And she had ties and like all the things. She was like, I don't know, part of it was probably her birth, but she literally came out. She was like
So tight.
so tight.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can sit up. No, you can't. Like you're literally like, and all the classic things. And so I did all the body work with her and like, but I didn't care. I was like, I'm going to do it because I want to breastfeed. Um, so yeah, I got all of the support I wanted, and I wished that I had the first time, which is why I'm so passionate about that now. Like I I remember wanting to be I knew the mom that I wanted to be the first time, but I felt like I didn't have the support or the community to do that. And I didn't know where to find those people. And so the second time around, I was like, oh, like this is how it can be. And I found it this time. And like now I want to help first time moms find it when they want that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what birthed me sharing online too. Like
Yeah.
her birth was like transformational
Yeah.
for me. And like now I'm going to tell everyone
Yeah.
like they can do this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think sometimes people see what I post and they're like, because I post very intense, like I have very strong views, maybe like controversial to some people, but I'm like, no, there's mothers out there or like mothers to be that want what I'm sharing and they can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
And so like I'm gonna be that person.
Yeah.
And I'm not for everyone, and that's okay.
Yep.
Like I'm totally okay with that. But I am who I needed
Yeah.
when I was pregnant with my first. And I was desperately looking for and couldn't find. And so yeah, my second birth with Haven, I think just like solidified all that. And I was like, whoa, like now I know I have more clarity on like who I'm meant to be and like who I'm meant to help too. So
That's really special.
Yeah. Really
So
transformational.
yeah.
I'd love to
Next
hear.
one.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
next one, like
Hers
having
was
that
quicker, yeah.
that big transformation and
Mhm.
then going into a third. How was
So
that?
that's when I like was fully immersed in birth work. I did all the things. I was like, I'm gonna like start serving moms as a doula. And because I couldn't really do that when we first got here. Like I just had babies back to back. And so I started that. I was going like hardcore on my Instagram and just like sharing. Because Haven was such a dream and that postpartum was such a dream, I was like itching to have another baby, but I was like, we can't do it like too soon. And I really wanted to breastfeed her long term. So I was like, I need that to come first. But she was like, and then at this point, I had a lot of friends who like had multiples, and I was like, I can totally do it. Like I can totally have a third. So she was like 16 months, and I was like, I'm like ready. But we waited. I want to say she was 18 or 19 months. And then we were like, okay, let's go for it. Got pregnant the first time. All three of them. It was like, let's get pregnant. Got pregnant. But I was feeling very much like I want more hands-off care this time. I'm like kind of toying with the idea of a free birth, but like, I don't know. I just was like, I can do this. But I still want like the care of a midwife because I love that. I interview this one midwife and we have like a consultation in person, and it's literally like connection at first sight. I don't want to say like love at first sight, but we were both like, I was like,
You can fall in love with a care provider, I
I
think.
was like, you're meant to be my midwife.
Yeah.
And she later told me, I have a sweet story about that, but she was like, I also like knew that you were meant to be, like midwives also choose mothers,
Yeah, totally.
So anyway, I was like, yep, okay, I'm hiring you. And I remember telling her too, like, I don't know if I like really want prenatals. I was like trying to be, I don't know if I like want all the care and need it. And she's like, that's fine. Like, you let me know what you want. Like we can do as little or as much as you want. And then of course we start our prenatals and it's like a hangout. And I'm like, of course I want to see you all the time.
Yeah.
I thought this would be the baby that I would go to my due date with. I was like praying like, oh, for sure. Yes, like this baby I'm going to go later. And because I had 31 or 38 and 1 and then 39 and 4. And so I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to my due date. It was end of October. And it was October 8th. We're going to Apple Hill. And I wake up that morning and I'm like kind of half awake, half asleep. And I'm like, I don't really like feel good. Like my stomach kind of hurts. And like I go back to sleep and I wake up again. I'm like, "Mm, my stomach kind of hurts." I'm like in and out of this. And then I finally wake up and I'm like, am I having contractions? I was 37 weeks and 4 days pregnant. And I'm like, there's no way that I'm having contractions right now. Like, okay, like maybe this is just prodromal labor, like what everyone talks about. I've never had it, but and so I start to get ready and I tell Prince, I'm like, I think I'm having contractions, but I don't think I'm in labor. Like I was like, I don't really know. I'm like, this could just be false. And he's like, okay, do you still want to go to Apple Hill? I'm like, yeah, let's go. Nothing's gonna happen. And so we all go, and on the drive there, so we live in Auburn, and Apple Hill's like Placerville, so we're driving like these windy roads. I'm like, stop driving like that. And he's like, I'm literally just like driving like normal. And I'm like breathing through contractions. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so we put on music, and I'm just like, I need to like center myself for a minute. Like, this is not happening right now. Like, I'm 37 weeks pregnant. And we get to Apple Hill, and my mom and some other people are meeting us. And I'm like, don't freak out. I'm just letting you know because it'll probably be obvious. But like, I think I'm having contractions. I don't think it's like imminent. She's like, okay, whatever, like, yay.
Mhm.
And so we go through that whole day, and then we come back home, and I'm exhausted. And I lay in bed and I just nap. And Prince does his cleaning thing again. He's like going around the entire house, cleaning. Like, I'm like, I don't even have everything ready because this time I'm like chill. Also, I have two other kids to deal with. Like, I was like, there was things I still wanted. Like, there was this cute robe I wanted to wear postpartum. I'm like, do I order it right now? Like, what do I do? And I literally don't know what to do. And so I have him do like a Target pickup, and he like makes this nice dinner. I'm like still having contractions. It was like very strange. I'm like, what do I tell everyone? Like, I don't feel like this is like, it wasn't intense enough to like, it was definitely like taking my attention, but wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Like, I don't know what to do. And so I'm like, I'm just gonna see like what happens this evening when the kids go to bed. And so he puts them to bed, and I'm laying down, and I'm like, I literally just need this to either like happen or not happen. Like, this is like, this mind trip is crazy. And so he comes back in the room. I'm like, and I tell him that, and I'm like, can you just like pray for me that like this would continue or like not? And so he like prays over me, and I fall asleep. And I had texted my midwife and the girls who were gonna come do pictures, like, just letting you know, but like I don't think it's anything. And I totally fall asleep, and I wake up the next morning. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess that was prodromal labor. Like, that was
Mhm.
so wild. But it felt a little bit more intense. Like, I'm like, people talk about prodromal labor, and I feel like it's like you can tell you're having contractions, but it's just like whatever. This was
Mhm.
like many times that day, I had to like stop and be like, what is going on? So anyway, that morning I'm due to have a midwife appointment, my house visit. And so she comes. She's like, "You're still pregnant." I'm like, "Yep, that was weird." And so we talk about, like, this could, you could have a baby next week or it could be weeks from now. And I'm like, yeah. But I think I knew in my head, I was like, no, like, this is going to happen soon. But I just was like, oh, yeah, hopefully we'll see. And so she says bye, and I like go about my day, whatever, doing stuff. And I like feel like I need to prep things because I'm like, oh, this might be happening soon.
Mhm.
So I'm like doing the last of my meal prep and stuff. And it comes to that late afternoon. It's like 4 or 5. And I start having contractions again. I'm like, oh no, it's going to be like another evening of this. And it's just going to like stop, start, whatever. Like, how long am I going to have prodromal labor? And so I'm like, but it's kind of like, they're kind of intense, like a little bit more intense this time. And so I put a movie on for the kids, and I'm laying down, and I'm like, I'm texting my friends. I'm like, asking them, like, have you guys ever had prodromal labor? Like, this is like really intense, but like, it can't be happening. I'm only 37 and 5. And they're like, yeah, maybe one's like, maybe try walking, curb walking. The other one's like, no, you need to rest. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna hang out, whatever. And Prince comes home and I'm like having contractions again, but I don't know if it's gonna like fizzle out like last time. And so he makes the dinner and I like take 2 bites and I'm like, nope, can't eat. And then I'm like, we're all hanging out in our room and I'm on the birth ball. And I'm like, let's like put the kids to bed together tonight. So like we're in there and we're like praying and doing bedtime stories and stuff. As he's praying, I'm like literally like quiet and like kind of like moaning and Israel's like, Mom, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fine. Like, I'm fine. It's good. It's all good. And he takes them to bed and I'm like, my biggest thing, I had a lot of things with like each pregnancy, but this one was like I had done it twice before. I knew that like I was the only one that could do this. Like n- I could have as many people as I wanted there and as much support as I wanted, but like I was literally the only one that could birth my baby. And so my whole thing this time was like working through that of like not feeling like I was going to be alone in it. And I remember talking to a friend a couple weeks prior telling her this and she was like I felt the same way with like a certain pregnancy and her midwife had told her like yes, like you're going to have people with you and like everyone's going to support you and love on you and like help carry you through this birth, but like only you and the Lord are going to be able to birth this baby. And I remember that resonated with me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like that's so true." And so the rest of that evening I just spent like I was just like praying and I remember going to the bathroom. I was like, "Wow." Like I had a moment of like, "God, you have to do this with me. Like I feel like I can't do this alone this time." And I'd never had like a spiritual experience with birth prior. Like, some women say like it's like this whole thing. I was just like, "No, I just do it." I don't know, like I had never had this like moment, but this moment, me in the bathroom in the dark, like praying, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like God, I need you to do this with me." And like I don't know what that looks like, but like I can't be alone in this. And I just felt this like peace wash over me. And so still not knowing if this I didn't know if this was a real thing. I was totally gaslighting myself again.
Seems to be a theme.
Yes, totally for me, which works because it
Yeah.
just, gaslight
Push it off
yourself
as long
until.
as possible. Yep.
Um, that's my one recommendation. Just pretend it's not happening until it is. I go back to bed and I'm like laying there and like listening to music and I'm like not realizing that I'm kind of falling asleep and then I'm like waking up. And then I realize it like hits me like, oh, this has been happening rhythmically. Like I should probably time these because these are happening very close together. And he's still like putting the kids to bed. And so I tell him like, I don't know what's happening. And he's like, I've
We've
known
done
that
this
you were in
3
labor
yeah.
since like dinner time. But I'm like, I don't know like what's happening again, if it's like last night. And he's like, well, do you want to call anyone? I'm like, this is like the worst part of the labor process to me. Don't ask me if I want to call anyone. I don't know. Like, you're going to have to make that decision or we're going to have this baby by ourselves. And I look at him, I'm like, I don't know. I don't want anyone to come here and then like it be a false alarm. He's like, okay, I think we should maybe just like, let's just call the midwife. And so we call her. She's like, hey. I'm like, Prince is like, so Kelsey's been having contractions. And she's like, okay, well, how are you doing? Did you want me to come? And I'm like, quiet. I'm like, and then I have a contraction and I'm like, I start pushing. Like my body literally is like, that like grunty.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I'm on my way. I'll see you guys soon. And so she hangs up and like Prince is like, he like is in go mode now. He's starting to like get everything ready. I'm like, I'm still literally like, are you sure though? Like, are you really sure?
Kelsey.
Like, I just literally, I don't, it was hard for me to process like it being that early and then happening that fast. I was just like, I don't know. Surely this could be prodromal labor, right? And so Prince like tells everyone. We call my mom. I remember she's like, well, I mean, how close are they together? Like, are you sure? I'm like, if you want to see this baby be born, you
You
need
need
to
to
come
come
now.
now.
And she's like, okay. And so they all show up at like the same time. I don't know how they did that, but I had wanted another water birth. So we had the birth tub set up, but not with water in it. So Prince is getting like the hose ready and he's going to take it over. And I was like, no, I just like, I need you right now. Like, I need to like hold on to you and like have you. He's like, okay, are you sure? I'm like, yes. And I think I knew at that point, like, this is not going to be a water birth. Like, we have no time for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they all rush in, and he's like standing there with me. My mom's like, do you want us to fill up the tub? She's like, not aware that this is literally like happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, but I'm like trying to get through a sentence, like telling her I don't think it's going to happen. And then I have another contraction. And my midwife was like, yeah, it's not happening. And so they got there. Let's see. I'm like forgetting what time she was born. She was born at 11:40, and they got there at 11:30,
Oh my gosh.
like 10 minutes before.
Wow.
So they all run in. I mean, they're like quiet, but like
Yeah.
they're like, oh my gosh. And I'm on the edge of my bed. I'm not moving. Like no one's gonna move me at this point. And so she's like chucks pads, like throwing them under me. And I still have my underwear on, like because I'm just like wet. She's like, we need to remove those. I'm like, why? And literally it was like 3 pushes and she was out. And I remember my midwife asking Prince, like, do you want to catch the baby?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like sitting there like, what? And then
The
like
baby's
she was
coming?
born.
Oh my
It was like
gosh.
so fast. And so she caught, and then like I brought her
Mhm.
up, and I was like, I looked up like, what
Wow,
the
just
heck
happened.
just happened? And yeah, so that was her whirlwind story. And I feel like every baby is like a reflection of their birth story, and she totally is. She's
Mhm.
like totally like that.
I love that.
But she was also a surprise gender, so we didn't know if we were
Aw.
gonna have another boy or another girl.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and the kids like came in like right when it was happening, so they were like what is going on? But my mom was there, so they got to see their baby sister be born, and
Mm.
yeah, it was just
So special.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
just perfect. It was like the cherry on top of like,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, and
Wow.
everything was great with her postpartum too. I felt like the third time it was like, okay, I've got this down now,
Yeah. Mhm.
um, and like had all the people in my corner that I needed, and like her postpartum was like bliss. It was just like, because I had prepared for like, no, I'm gonna like do this for however many weeks, and
Yeah.
like we're just gonna snuggle in bed and like do all the things, and
Mhm.
um yeah, and it
So
was
special.
amazing.
I
Yeah,
love her name.
thanks.
That's so beautiful. So it's
Mm.
Israel, Willow. No,
Israel, Haven,
Haven.
and
I
Harvest.
don't know where I got Willow from. That's so
Fits
beautiful.
in. Yeah, kind of similar vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harvest is so cute, and she's
Mhm.
born in
October. Yep.
October. Love that.
Yeah. It wasn't planned, like
Mhm.
the name and stuff that
It
way,
just
but
works out.
yeah.
Very beautiful. I love all of
Yeah.
those stories and how they each, that's like my favorite thing with it. You take something from each story and
Mhm.
it shows up in the next one, but also the next one is totally its own thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's built on the foundation of the next, but that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. That was
Absolutely.
amazing.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
That's how we've decided we're ending now.
Yeah.
Just can't hug over the microphone. Thanks for joining us on Girly Pop Birth Talks, where we hold space for the messy and meaningful journey of becoming her.
If today's story moved you, made you laugh, or reminded you of your own strength, we would love it if you subscribed, shared the episode, and left us a quick review.
We're so glad you were here.
Seriously, you're one of us now.
We can't wait to do this again soon.